Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Adventures in Wellbeing. My name is Damian Chaparro, and this is Thrive On Cognitive Longevity. Today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, and I suspect you may have noticed it too. It's that sometimes there is a bit of a fog, a thickness behind your eyes, a heaviness in the gray matter. If it's been there for a while, it probably feels stuck, like it could be there forever. It probably gets worse with stress or poor sleep. But here's what I want to offer you today. What if that brain fog isn't inevitable? What if it's not a symptom of aging, but a signal? A message from your brain about what it needs and isn't getting. That's what we're exploring in this episode, the emerging science of cognitive longevity, what it actually takes to keep your brain vital as you age, and a simple practice you can start today. Let's get into it. So, longevity, biological age, telomere length, grip strength, all of these measurements that promise to tell us how well we're aging. I'm not dismissing any of that. In fact, we love taking the time to measure biological age before and after retreat, to track HRV, to be deeply interested in data, mainly because that data can motivate us to do the good work of living a great life. But here's the quieter question that I think gets lost in all the optimization. What is the quality of the mind that lives inside of those years that we're working towards? Because you can have the cardiovascular system of someone a decade younger and yet still feel mentally heavy, scattered, unable to focus the way you used to. While we love looking deeply at how our hardworking parts contribute to our internal experience, this is also the territory of cognitive longevity, the science of keeping your brain not just alive, but vital as you age. And it layers yet another reason to prioritize wellness. Here's what neuroscience now understands. I think this is genuinely hopeful. Your brain is not fixed. It's not inevitably declining. It's a dynamic system. It's either growing or shrinking based on the inputs it receives. There is no coasting, no holding steady. Every day your brain is building new neural connections and losing them. It's always responding. The question is, how? So when you feel that fog rolling in, that's not your brain betraying you. It's feedback. It's your brain telling you, I need something different. At the center of all this is a protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call it fertilizer for your brain. And I love that image because it captures something essential. BDNF is what allows your neurons to strengthen existing connections, to form new ones, and repair damage. It's the molecular signature of a brain that's growing rather than declining. When BDNF is high, you experience clarity, emotional resilience, faster learning, protection against cognitive decline. When BDNF is low, fog, fatigue, anxiety, and that sense that your mind just isn't as sharp as it used to be. And here's the key thing. BDNF levels are not fixed by your genetics or your age. They respond dramatically to how you live, which is to say they are more epigenetic. This raises a question that matters. What are you doing today that produces more BDNF? Now, here's something fascinating. Neuroscience suggests that much of our daily thinking is highly repetitive. We move through familiar routines, we solve similar problems, we cycle through the same thoughts, the same worries, the same mental patterns, day after day after day. The brain conserves energy by automating what it can predict, by repeating patterns. It's smart design, right? But efficiency is not the same as vitality. The brain thrives on difference. In the same way that your muscles respond to new challenges, and in the same way you might not love doing push-ups, neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reorganize itself and form new pathways, depends on novelty, at least partially. It depends on challenge. So this is what researchers call enriched environments. Without these inputs, the pathways that keep you sharp begin to weaken. The fog can roll in, and we mistake entropy for inevitability. So cognitive longevity isn't about doing more, it's about doing differently. It's about introducing the kind of gentle disruption that wakes your brain up, that forces it to adapt, integrate, and grow. Not through strain, but through intentional variation in how you move, breathe, rest, and pay attention. Over the last 12 years and more than 8,000 guests at Aroha, we've refined a methodology that bundles nearly every major human-tested lever for increasing BDNF. This wasn't by accident, it has been by design, and the science bears it out. So let me walk you through several pillars of an Aroha retreat that you can integrate from home. First is movement in nature. A single session of vigorous aerobic exercise increases serum BDNF by 32% compared to sedentary controls. That's one session. But it's not just movement that matters, it's where you move. Forest bathing research shows that multi-day immersion in nature environments reduces cortisol, increases immune function, and shifts brain activity away from the regions associated with rumination and depression. Nature adds something that treadmills simply can't. At Aroha, guests hike 12 to 17 kilometers a day through alpine wilderness, snow-capped peaks, and this isn't punishment, it's neurogenesis with a beautiful view. Okay, second, mindfulness. Mindfulness interventions produce significant BDNF elevation across controlled trials. But perhaps more importantly, for cognitive longevity, mindfulness directly targets those receptive thought loops that accelerate mental aging, rumination, the habit of cycling through the same worries and regrets. It's associated with reduced BDNF and increased inflammation. Mindfulness interrupts the loop. It introduces space where there was only reaction. At Aroha, guests meditate daily. They spend time in silence. They're invited into an entire day without speaking and engaging with others. Not as deprivation, but as a gift, a break. The nervous system learns a different way to be. The brain remembers how to grow. Third, breathwork. Slow diaphragmatic breathing shifts your autonomic nervous system in ways that support neuroplasticity. It moves you out of the survival mode and into the state where growth becomes possible. But breathwork also trains something essential: the capacity to regulate your own nervous system. This is agency at the most fundamental level, the ability to shift from reactivity, fight or flight, to response, to consciousness, from fog to clarity, through nothing more than how you pay attention to breath. Fourth, fasting and anti-inflammatory nutrition. In animal models, intermittent fasting robustly increases BDNF in the hippocampus and cortex, the regions most essential for memory and learning. At Aroha, we include a silent, low-calorie reset day, and guests are always surprised by how clear they feel, not depleted, strangely alert. The brain, freed from the constant work of digestion, tunes its attention upwards and outwards. And Lastly, fifth, we have sleep. Sleep is where the brain consolidates memory, clears metabolic waste, and repairs itself. Poor sleep is associated with lower BDNF. Better sleep creates the conditions where everything else can work better. At Aroha, we don't just encourage good sleep, we engineer it. Early mornings, nightly yin yoga, and breathwork as the clue to wind down. Dark rooms, no screens, no notifications, no decisions. Within 3 days, most guests report the deepest rest they've had in years, and their wearable data proves it. Now, here's what really matters. These practices don't work in isolation. They work because they stack. Movement primes the brain for neuroplasticity. Mindfulness directs the plasticity towards adaptive patterns. Breathwork regulates the nervous system so growth is more possible. Fasting clears the metabolic noise. Sleep consolidates the gains. Each practice amplifies the others. They synergize. This is the Aroha way, not a menu of random wellness options, but an integrated system designed to trigger transformation at the deepest biological levels. Cognitive longevity isn't built through supplements or brain games or hoping for the best. It's built through consistent stacked inputs that tell your brain one thing: let's grow. And what happens when you do this? Guests arrive foggy, depleted, heavy. They leave having reduced their biological age by up to 2 years and 7 days. HRV has improved by over 9% on average. Resting heart rate is down. High blood pressure is reduced. And the proof that matters most isn't on a chart. It's in their words. One guest told us, quote, "The experience lifted the fog in my brain, and everything in life felt easier and simpler when I came home." So here's a study we did internally. A full month after leaving Aroha, guests report a 41% improvement in feeling calm and peaceful, a 37% increase in energy, a 44% improvement in how they perceive their own health. This isn't just retreat euphoria that fades on the flight home. This is cognitive longevity made tangible. So here's where I want to land today. You don't need to travel to New Zealand to begin this, but you do need to begin, and you need to do something different. And I want to offer you one simple practice, something you can do today and every day this week that touches on several of these BDNF boosting levers we've talked about all at once. It's simple. Here it is. Take a 20-minute walk outside in silence. That's it. No podcast, no music, no phone calls, just you, maybe your bare feet, and whatever environment you can access. As you walk, let your breath deepen naturally. Don't force it, just feel it fully. Notice your feet on the ground. Notice what's around you. Just take it all in. When your mind starts to wander, those familiar loops, the planning, the worrying, the replaying, just notice that too. And gently come back to your feet, your breath, the sky, the trees. 20 minutes, daily, 7 days. Let me know how it goes. This is movement, it's mindfulness, it's breath work, it's in nature, and it's stacking into one simple practice. This will give you a taste of what your brain is capable of when you start feeding it what it actually needs. And if you want to go deeper, we've created a free 7-day longevity challenge that sequences these practices in the way we do on retreat. 10 to 15 minutes a day, movement, breath, stillness, intention, designed to stack. You'll find the link in the show notes at aroha-ha.com/podcast. You can also find us on any platform you love listening to podcasts. We always appreciate your feedback your follows, your comments, your emails, your subscriptions. So the fog isn't inevitable. It's not just aging. It's not who you are. It's a signal. And signals can be answered. Your brain thrives on different. So do something different. Observe consciously. Live fully. Thanks so much for being here today. I'll see you next time.